talking about the music today, sitting here in the studios live and living color with legendary radio personality, Mr. Bobby Ojay.
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Man,
all right.
This is a pleasure and an honor to have you here on this show.
Thank you.
My friend Marcus and I.
Right, thank you.
You know,
appreciate that.
Yeah, on this show we talk about the music, and you have a history of knowledge in the music industry. So I know you talk about it bits and pieces on your show from time to time, but just kind of give us the whole thing, take us way back to the beginning. Where did it all start?
Well, 1972, Montgomery, Alabama. I got my first job in the radio business, and left there and went to Milwaukee, stayed there for a little while, and went to Houston.
Hold on now. Let me interrupt you. Let me slow you down now, because you are originally from Mississippi.
Right.
So how did you go about ending up in Montgomery?
Well, when I got out of high school in 1970, I was 16 years old. And my older brothers and sisters had migrated from the cotton fields of Mississippi up to Wisconsin, and they all had factory jobs, and I was too young to work in a factory. So I wanted to be in the radio business anyway, because I had gotten bitten by the radio bug when I was 14 years old. So I knew I wanted to be on the radio. So I went to Milwaukee and I got a job, a summer job, working at the University of Wisconsin. And when the summer was over, they gave me a full-time job because they liked my work and they knew I was a high school graduate.
But this was like college radio.
No,
okay.
I was a janitor.
What?
No, I was a janitor. I was sweeping floors and cleaning toilets.
Really?
At the university, and the older guys liked my work because I was a hardworking guy, so they hired me as a full-time person. So So after that, I enrolled in broadcasting school, and in 1972, I got my first job in Montgomery, Alabama. So since I was living in Milwaukee, I went to broadcasting school in Milwaukee, but I got my first radio job in Alabama.
Right. So when I hear you on the radio talking to the young people about working and toughing it out and being able to do whatever it takes to get yourself to work your way up.
Right.
So you actually, because I mean, nobody could probably imagine Bobby Ojay being a janitor.
Man, I came out of the cotton fields of Mississippi. I mean, can you imagine that? So for 14 years of my life, I was picking cotton and doing all the things, on the farm that kids did back then, And so from age 7 to age 14, I was the guy that got up at 6 o'clock in the morning and went to the cotton fields and stayed there till 6 o'clock in the evening.
So you've been through it?
I've been through it. I've been there. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you know the story.
Absolutely.
So now from there, from Montgomery, you went on to...
I went back to Milwaukee to work at a radio station there, and I was there for maybe about a year, and then I left there and went to Houston, which was a major market.
Right.
And I worked there for a little while and left and went to Flint, Michigan, because I had some marital problems going on, so I was trying to get back closer to Milwaukee to be with my wife and my kids at the time. But Flint was too small for me. And I got another offer to go back to Houston to work at the same radio station in 1975. So I went back there, and I stayed there till 77. Got a job offer to go to work in Dallas to replace Tom Joyner, because he had left Dallas to go to Chicago. So I went to Dallas in 77, stayed there for a year. And in 1978, I got a phone call from Chicago to replace Tom Joyner again at another radio station at WBMX, which is now B103 VAZ.
Right.
And so I went to Chicago in 1978, and I was there till 82. Went back to Houston for a quick minute in 82, and in January 83, I came here. I came back to Memphis. Well, I came to Memphis, and in March of 83, I was given the job as the program director and the morning man at WDIA, and I've been here ever since.
Right. Well, look, man, you have certainly changed the face of radio in the South.
Thank you.
You're probably one of the only guys that I can remember in my time span that has actually still held a place in the ratings, because during the transition of radio and the music industry and that whole thing, you seem to sustain and hold on. And you mentioned another one, Tom Joyner. And so that's kind of ironic that you guys have had that path in the circle of life, Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell you, this is really, really crazy. It is ironic too. But in 1972, when I walked in the radio station in Montgomery, Alabama, Tom Joyner was walking out. So I've known him all of my career.
So it's kind of like you coming in, he's leaving.
Exactly.
Or he's coming in and you're leaving.
Yes, I mean, it's been that way my whole career. In 1972, I'm going in the station, I meet him, he's leaving, going somewhere. And so that's just the way it's been. So, we've known each other for 37, 38 years.
Right.
Long time.
So have you ever you host the
Right.
Fun Morning Show?
Right, on
here
DIA, been doing it for the last
DIA,
27 years,
the
yes.
Goodwill station.
Yeah, the number one morning show. As you know, I compete with two syndicated shows. I compete with Tom. I compete with Steve. But I am consistently the number one show in the Memphis area, in the Memphis market. And when you tell people that are around the country, they some of them believe it, but some find it hard to believe because they're thinking, well, you on an AM station, these guys are national, how you beat them? I say, because of what I do, and so it's fun, and it's hell, I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. Well, you I was getting ready to ask you because doing that, it seems like corporations have
Right.
come in, and it's
Right.
been that way for what, the last 10 years
Yeah,
or
for
so,
the last
10,
10
15
years, yeah.
have come in and had a tremendous impact on
Yeah.
the way that the music industry and radio has gone. But yet you still find a way
Right.
to keep the good family values
Right.
with what you do and your show. And I mean, just the whole creative process
Yeah.
of doing that. How is that done?
Well,
on
see,
a
the thing
daily
is-
basis, a consistent basis.
Well, I grew up listening to WDIA, and over the years, WDIA, of course, being the first black radio station in America, this station has been a model for black radio stations all over the country. And so the station has been so successful over the last 61 years till the new ownership and the management over the years. I've worked for 9 general managers, 9, and about 6 owners, and none of them tampered with the radio station. They all came in and said, "Hey, Bobby, you're doing a great job on DIA. I don't know how it works. It's working. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it." And so over the years, I realized that we need to keep a piece of WDIA, to preserve the historic value of the radio station. But if the station is going to grow and move forward and not become this little dull, boring AM radio station, then we have to stay on top of things, man. I mean, we have to play the new Tony Braxton. We got to play the new Mariah Carey, the new Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
We got to play the new Charlie Wilson, and from time to time we have to play the new Alicia Keys and the new Mary J. Blige, and mix that with Marvin Gaye and Aretha Franklin, Gladys and the Ojays, Isley, Luther, and Anita. You got to blend all of that stuff in together. And so over the years, the management and the owners of the radio station, they've found out that this stuff works for what we do here,
Right.
and so they allow me to do it, and it continues to work.
And I noticed as I travel a lot through the South, in the markets in Central and South Mississippi, Louisiana, Alabama, a lot of people pattern what they do.
Right.
Based off of what you're doing with just your show. A lot of these guys format their station based off of what you're doing, and they have a lot of success with it in the areas that they're in.
Yeah.
Now, you talk about a lot of community issues,
Right.
a lot of things, but you always seem to be kind of I won't say you don't go against the grain, but you have your own way of thinking. So
Absolutely.
Bobbyology.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Explain that to us.
Well, Bobbyology is just something that that I came up with. It's kind of like a philosophy. It's a common sense philosophy, also based on some of the things that I've experienced and some of the things that I've read and some of the things that I know to be true. And one day I was on the air just giving all this stuff about, I guess maybe about 15, 20 years ago. Some guy called up and said, "Man, you go with this Bobbyology again." I was thinking, damn, that's pretty good.
It's pretty catchy.
So I started calling it Bobbyology, which it really is Bobbyology. But some of the guys say it's, bullet crap, it's Bobby bullet crap. But the fact of the matter is that, I believe 100% of the stuff I say.
Really?
Damn right. Yeah, I do. I believe it.
But I also heard you say that your wife say, Bobby, people call you up and tell you everything, and you just believe it.
Yeah, my wife always says, people just tell you stuff and you believe it. I said, well, it's based on what's in it for me. In other words, if it's something that's not gonna hurt me, it don't mean nothing to me, then why not believe it? If a guy calls and say, "Yeah, man, I got a brand new Cadillac and I got a so and so. Well, hey, listen, what is that? Okay, fine, I believe you. You know, now, if somebody calls up and tells me something that's, that's harmful to me, or that could hurt me in the future, then I'm gonna think about it. But most of the stuff people tell me that I say, yeah, well, you tell me, I believe it. Fine. A guy calls and says, hey man, I didn't come to work today because I had a toothache. Well, that's what you said. You didn't come to work. Fine. You had a toothache. Big deal. You know. And so, that's basically what, the kind of stuff she was talking about.
Right.
I mean, if you tell me you got a toothache and you can't come to work, then I'm going to believe you.
You believe that's what it was.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, after all, you didn't come to work, and so that was the bottom line for me.
Yeah. Well, look, now I've heard a lot of artists credit you for breaking their records or contributing to their success.
Right.
A lot of well-established people.
Right.
Charlie Wilson, for one,
Right.
that you mentioned. And who are some of your favorite artists?
Well, of course, Charlie would be one. Up to day's artist, I'm Tony Braxton fan. Of course, I've always liked Whitney Houston. I'm a Stevie Wonder fan. Mariah Carey, I like her stuff. But some of the old school guys, man, the Tyrones and the Johnnies of the world.
Yeah.
Stevie, of course. And but I would say Marvin Gaye would have to probably be one of my all-time favorites.
Right.
But in the case of somebody like a Charlie Wilson or some of these other artists that have difficulty getting played, because Charlie had difficulties getting played on the radio after he left the Gap Band.
Right.
And so I was one of the stations, one of the few stations, in this area that would play his music. For example, let's say the new Tony Braxton record, okay? The new Tony Braxton record, I tested it this morning, and I don't think any other station in the market is playing the record yet.
Right. And I like it.
Right. I mean, I'm a Tony Braxton fan, of course. That song Yesterday, it has to grow on me, but I'm willing to give it the opportunity, give it the chance to grow. But when Charlie Wilson, when he did the R. Kelly thing on the last CD, the CD before this one, I tested the single, and the people went nuts over it. And then the other stations in the market,
Right.
started picking up on the song.
Well, you actually did that too. I noticed with Robin Thicke.
Yeah,
and
I
then
did Robin Thicke as well.
Jennifer Hudson
Yeah,
record.
exactly.
The
Spotlight.
Spotlight.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, see, I have the opportunity to play some of these songs first because I'm not under this.
The gun, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, I think that my bosses allow me that type of freedom to test songs that fit this format.
Right.
And so I appreciate that. I mean, if, for example, when Janet Jackson's new song come out, I'll probably test that and then test that and see what happens. And then, if the record, because I think that some people around here believe that if I test it and the record shows good, then it takes away the fear that they have of playing the record first.
Right.
So they kind of use me as a test.
Right. So now, when you say testing, do you have to get feedback from a record?
Yeah. I'll go on the air. I'll play the song. I'll tell the people I'm going to play it, and then I'll play it. And then I got my own ears, So if I take 20 phone calls and 15 say they like it, then I consider, okay, fine. Then maybe 300, 400 people like the song.
Right.
But if I hear a song and I like it, and it sounds great on the radio station, then I'm going to play it. I don't care what anybody else says. So, for example, there's an artist, Calvin Richardson.
I love him.
Yeah.
One of my closest friends.
But I mean, this guy doesn't get a lot of airplay. But he has a song. He did a remake of Bobby Womack's "I'm Through," and even though that's not the single is "Woman Gotta Have It."
Right.
But when I listened to that song versus the Bobby Womack's version, I felt like maybe I should listen to something on the album. So when I got the album, I listened to it and I heard "I'm Through," trying to prove my love, and he did a great rendition of the song.
Right.
We don't play the Bobby Womack version because we don't have a copy of it. So when I heard Calvin's version, I said, man, this is the jam right here.
Right.
So I started playing it, and so now we're playing it. We're playing it at night, and we're playing it on Saturdays. But eventually, the song is going to move into regular rotation.
And then just to prove to you about Calvin, because Calvin is my friend.
Right.
Calvin actually wrote and recorded the song that Charlie Wilson.
There Goes My Baby, right.
Baby. And
And
didn't get a
Babyface
lot
too,
of
right?
airplay.
Right, yeah, exactly. Charlie Wilson comes along, puts a spin to the record, and there you have it.
Right.
You know, but Calvin's a great artist.
Right.
You know, and I think maybe, you know, it's just, you know, a lot of times it has something to do with the record label, you know, not getting his product out there. But he's a great artist. I mean, I like his stuff.
Now, you have obviously followed in some real big shoes, man, being here at DIA and following in the footsteps of Rufus.
A.C. Williams.
Yeah, Nat Turner, those people.
Exactly.
So when you wake up in the morning and you see how God has blessed you, because I know you're a very spiritual guy, how does that make you feel to just look in the mirror and say, hey, you know, I've done something that nobody else, really no one else has been able to accomplish, really, in radio. Yeah.
I mean, when I came to Memphis in 1983, let's just face the fact, man, playing music on an AM radio station, most owners wouldn't even try to do it.
Yeah.
But, you know, when I came here, you know, AM radio was in that era where it was, you know, it was damn near gone in most places. But, you know, DIA was able to get a shot in the arm. And so we're probably the only radio station in this country that plays music and wins.
Right.
Which is a mistake, because people will listen to AM radio stations, man, that play music. It's just that the ownership and the management are afraid to do it, and the guys who they have doing it don't know what the hell they're doing, and so therefore they think, well, it's a lost cause. But it's not a lost cause. You know, and so for 27 years, you know, I've been sitting in this seat, and I've already made history on one end, because no other person has been a program director at WDIA for 27 years. I mean, not even 10 years.
Hell, I don't even know of nobody else.
Right. So I've been the program director here for 27 years. I've been the morning man here for 27 years. Now, A.C. Williams was the morning man for 33 years at this radio station. So I haven't broken his record yet as the morning man, but I'm working on it.
Right.
But as a program director, I've broken off everybody's record.
Right. Look, now you also have a young son.
Right, yeah, Josh. Well, I actually have 3 sons and I have 3 daughters.
Yeah. Well, you have this one happens to be kind of making his own ways into the music business. Right. He goes by the name of the Bread Boy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and
and I got another son who's he's a bit older than Josh. He's trying to make his way in the music business in Milwaukee. His name is Nick Genius.
Right.
And he's got a couple of things going on up there. You know, he's gotten some airplay in Milwaukee, and he's plays around the clubs and everything up there.
But then speaking of that, I noticed you just kind of lay back and let them make their own path.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't have a whole lot of influence on getting people to play their record or whatever the case, which obviously you probably could do.
Yeah.
Just by calling in some favors, but
my philosophy is that my son Nick Genius, he's by him being so far away and Milwaukee being in the situation that it is in, it's difficult to help him with his airplay there, because the radio stations that could play his music, they operate on a different kind of system, and so I can't interfere with that. So what I do is that I try to give him advice on what kind of songs he needs to record. As far as Josh, Bread Boy, here, I've given him all kinds of advice on how he should do his music. I always, and I told my other son the same thing. If you can't dance to it or screw to it, don't do it.
Right.
And so
it
makes sense. And so now that Josh is 18, he's starting to understand what I've been talking about, and now his music is a whole lot better. And I think that it would be great for him to have success at 18. But success for him will be a whole lot sweeter when he's 20, 21, 22 years old. And so now what he's doing, he's laying the foundation. I'm helping him with this foundation. And the songs that he's done, they're very, very good. And so with the right kind of leadership, he'll be able to take these songs 2 or 3 years from now, or even 6 months from now, and do something with them.
Right.
But what he needs more so now, I think, is he needs management. I can't manage him because first of all, I'm not going to be hanging out in clubs.
Right.
I don't have the energy to do it, and so I'm hoping that we can help him find a good manager that will help him to go to the next level.
Right. Well, look, now you were one of the few stations across this country, because Marcus and I do a lot of traveling, getting footage and stuff on the show. You were one of the few stations across this country before Michael Jackson passed that was actually playing consistently a lot of Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5 music. So during that time, the passing of Michael and all of that, you know, and just now everybody's playing Michael.
Yeah, all of a sudden everybody's playing Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
I mean, WDIA being the first black radio station in America. You know, Michael Jackson came on the scene 1968. Well, this radio station has never stopped playing Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5. Never. And so when Michael was going through the child molestation thing, you know, you couldn't hear Michael Jackson songs.
Right.
Our radio station never stopped playing Michael Jackson. So when Michael died, you know, we just started playing, you know, just more and more and more and more. But even though we were still playing a lot of his songs before his death. And, you know, so now that he's dead, you know, everybody, you know how it is when you die, everybody's your friend. Man, right. You know, he was one of my best friends. You know, and the guy get about the casket, he could say, man, I ain't seen this guy in 30 years. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, I did want to make that point because I knew other people were bragging about the fact, we're doing the Michael Jackson this. And I'm like, well, where were you guys when Michael Jackson,
2 years ago.
2 years ago or 3 years ago when he was going through this molestation thing? You know, you guys weren't supporting him. You know, but we've never stopped playing Michael Jackson's music. Now,
you seem to have everybody that's successful in any type of business or anything has would seem to have a legacy that they want to leave. The Juke Joint Tour.
Absolutely.
Is that part of your?
Part
of your legacy?
Part of my legacy. You know, I've done so many things here at the radio station. You know, my tenure here at WDIA. You know, that's just probably one of them. But I think I'll be known for that, especially when it comes to the Southern Soul and the blues artists in this town.
Right.
You know, and some of the DJs that live in this part of the country, like in Little Rock or Jackson, Mississippi, and other parts, you know, Alabama. I think that they'll also remember me as, what do you mean? Hell, I'm gonna outlive them. Hell, I'm gonna outlive those guys. What you talking about? Wait a minute.
You want those cats to be around?
Yeah, man. Hell, I'm gonna outlive them guys. You know, but. You know, I mean, just in case, something, happens to me, God forbid, I do think that I'll be remembered as a guy who did the Juke Joint tours.
Right. You know. And that's every Wednesday.
Yeah, every Wednesday in October, starting October 7th. We'll do it at Sam's Town, and it's every Wednesday. It's a free event. And, we got the big guys, the Marvin Cease of the world, Lattimore, even Bobby Bland's done it before. Shirley Brown, Jay Blackfoot, Floyd Taylor, Billy Soul Bun, Mel Waiters, Willie Clayton, everybody. Yeah. Everybody's done the Juke Joint tour except B.B. King and Sir Charles Jones.
Really?
Yeah, he was supposed to do the Juke Joint tour, but I think he got sick and was not able to do it 1 year. And hopefully we'll get a chance to get him to do it. But out of all the big names, I think B.B. King. B.B. King's the only one who hasn't done it. But Bobby Bland even did it.
Right. So I remember seeing Bland out there. But look, I got a surprise for you this year on the Juke Joint Tour. I'm not gonna tell you.
Okay.
I'm gonna surprise you.
All right. Cool.
Well, look, Bobby. Yeah. Thanks, man, for taking time out to share with us. Now, just before you leave, kind of shed some light, man, because we always try to give some encouragement and some information to some of the younger cats that's getting into their business. Like you say, you have sons that are getting, whether it be radio, television, music, producing, whatever. Just kind of give them some helpful information.
Yeah, I would say that what you got to do is listen. You got to find somebody that you idolize, somebody who's a hit maker, and you need to kind of build your career around these people who have made hits. Right now, you got a lot of cats, that are trying to make it but haven't made it. You got Lil Wayne. Here's a kid who is just bigger than rap itself right now. And then you got Jay-Z's of the world. So I would say pattern yourself after somebody, and knock off this stuff about you sounding like this guy or you taking from that guy. Don't let your little friends talk you into not following someone who's already a success. I've done it. I think most of these guys that are success have someone that they followed who have been successful.
Well, if you listen to, I hear people talk about it all the time. A lot of guys that sing mimic Charlie Wilson.
Charlie Wilson.
They can't do it quite as good as Charlie, but they try.
And Charlie, I'm sure, mimic somebody else. Maybe somebody from from the 50s or the 60s. You know, in this music game, nothing is new. Even Michael Jackson mimicked James Brown and Jackie Wilson.
Well, that's funny that you said that, because I was talking. We had a conversation at Bible class, after Bible class, when we were talking about Michael and how it just looks unreal. And my pastor said, "Man, Jackie Wilson used to do the same
Oh, absolutely,
thing."
absolutely. Michael Jackson took from everybody. He took from he took from television. He took from people like Fred Astaire. He took from actors, and Michael Jackson took from cartoon characters. Michael Jackson took from everybody and put it into his own style.
And perfected it.
And that's what you got to do. A lot of these young guys, they'll say, "Oh man, you sound like so and so, so and so." Man, bump that. What you got to do is find somebody who's making hit records. Take a little bit of their stuff, mix it with yours, and move forward. And when you make money, listen, have fun because you're young.
Right.
But don't get strung out on dope that you know that's going to end your life. You know heroin and cocaine. You know that that's not good. You know it's just not good. So don't get hung up on dope that's going to kill you. Have your fun. Have you some women, you know, because you're young. And that's what you're going to do. So you got to sow your wild oats. But don't do anything that's going to ruin your career. And listen to people who have done it and have been successful at it. You know, and that's my advice to the young guys. You know, don't spend your money on stuff that you can't resell. What sense would it make to go out and buy a $50,000 chain when you get ready to sell your chain in case you go broke? How are you going to sell it? You know, you melt the gold down and maybe try to sell it, but you know, you paid $50,000 for it, but are you going to get $50,000 back? So if you always remember that. You know, don't throw your money away.
Now that's Bobbyology.
That's some Bobbyology for your BRQPW.
Talking about the music today with
right.
legendary radio personality, Mr. Bobby Ojay.
Thank you.
Y'all keep watching.